High Court in Lobatse recently freed former Finance Minister Dr. Thapelo Matseka, who had been arrested in connection with the disappearance of Hloso Karema. In his ruling, Judge Haupalelo Kitlogetswe said the state had not produced a warrant of arrest when arresting Matseka, and that the state apparatus acted beyond the parameters of the law by detaining Matseka beyond 48 hours without requesting a further remand from any court. Indeed, the state lawyer Khotso Botlhole did not refute this when presenting his case. Speaking shortly after the ruling, Dr. Matseka said he was happy that finally the rule of law prevailed, and went on to say that the case against him was politically motivated. Now, what does this mean to the law enforcement agencies, and would this have any impact on Matseka's political future? We are joined by a political analyst from the University of Botswana, Kialeboga Dipogiso.
My name is not Kialeboga Dipogiso. My name is Kialeboga
Dipogiso. My apologies. To unpack all this. Good evening. My name is Batesy Money, and this is the Why Grind. Ready Pogiso. What does this mean to the law enforcement agencies in the country in terms of their credibility? What do you make of the whole ruling?
I think in the recent past, we've seen a lot of controversies in terms of how our law enforcement agencies have been performing. There's been a lot of controversies, right from the butterfly case throughout all the other cases. And I think this is one of the cases where they're a bit, like you said earlier, clumsy in the manner which they handle the matter. Yes, and I think there's much more need to particularly do their work more efficiently so that they crack the cases as probably expected by everyone.
This type of pattern has been happening, like you mentioned, the butterfly case, the 100 billion Pula case, in which former President Sasra Khama was implicated in it. And in that case, evidence was not presented to court that clearly linked the individuals that were accused to the case or to the 100 billion, the missing funds. It was a similar thing in this case. Like I said, the credibility of now the law enforcement agencies is at stake. Going forward, how will the government handle such situations? There has been comments from members of the public that since the arrival or the establishment of the DIS in the country, a lot of things have happened, and people are tending to blame the DIS for the clumsy or the shoddy job that we see in our courts.
Yes, I think going forward, the DIS must retrospect and to establish where they could probably be doing things wrongly. And as some of the people have been saying, they should also try hard as much to try to train their staff so that they do their work accordingly. Because what is currently happening is that the public may necessarily lose the trust that is required from the organization.
What does it mean to the police itself? You have one, DIS it's an institution on its own. The police, it's another. But it doesn't. Does that bring any harmony in between the two organizations?
Well, there are instances where you've seen that there is no collegiality between the two organizations, where clearly the other was pulling the wrong direction. Not even only between the police and the DIS, but also the DPP as well. As you probably could see that the state nowadays prefers to outsource cases. There's probably some fallout between the DIS and probably the leadership of the DPP, as much as we have seen the fallout between the DIS and the leadership of the DCEC. So there is need for these organizations to work together if they were to resolve issues of national are concerned, like the issues of national security that we've been seeing in the recent past. So there is a need for harmony. There is need to collegially address these issues in a manner that is more robust and much more efficient.
You mentioned the issue of outsourcing lawyers or hiring or engaging private law firms in cases such as these. How much can you speculate? How much money are we losing as taxpayers?
I don't know how much money the taxpayer is losing, but obviously when you go to court and you lose with costs, is a process that you probably don't have control of. But obviously the taxpayer is paying money.
Are we not sort of undermining? What are we saying to the young legal minds that we have in the form of DPP? Ba e leng gore ba tswa ko bontsi ba bone ba tswa ko University of Botswana or ke Batswana ba hirilwe ke government as lawyers, as state lawyers. What are you saying to them?
We currently cannot say what case is preferred for outsourcing and the reasons for doing that, but certainly there must be reasons why the state prefers.
Obviously, Dipogiso, you are saying you are not capable of handling that case.
Yes, that's what I said earlier, that there probably might be a fallout between the state and the prosecutorial authorities in the country. But we can't say which case is worthy of outsourcing and which is not. And as you correctly point, it might be casting aspersions on the credibility of the DPP as an institution that is established to do that job.
Are we likely to see, coming back to the Maseka case, are we likely to see law enforcement agencies probably re-looking at this and saying, no, can we now follow the proper procedure and charge Maseka?
Well, that will depend on the credibility of the information that they have. And everyone is interested in this particular case because, to me, it's a matter of national security where prominent people are being mentioned in such a case. There's critical need that the law enforcement agencies work together to ensure that the information that they have, that they collect, is credible, and whosoever is responsible is held to account on this particular matter.
For a long time, the opposition or some members of the opposition have been saying that, or accusing those in government, that they are using state apparatus against them. We are now seeing this happening within the ruling party. What are we saying to those people that batswere the state yana, state security agencies, and those in government, by Longkore, they are the political leadership?
Yeah, actually, right from the beginning of the DIS, there were perceptions that the DIS was probably going to be used to chase around political opponents. And there's evidence in the past that certain political figures were accusing the DIS of following them up and, in some cases, beating them up and all of that. But as I said earlier, I think it is only important that we finish the investigations. It's in the interest of the nation that the investigations complete, and whosoever is taken before the courts of law may prove their innocence, as everyone is expected to do that when they are facing criminal charges. So we cannot sit and say because so and so is a political opponent of so and so, therefore if they are implicated or if they are mentioned, then the matter immediately becomes a matter of political meddling in that regard. Yeah, because we currently do not know what happened to the deceased. We can only rely on the law enforcement agencies to.
But as they said in court, as the judge said, it was based on hearsay.
Yes, that's why I'm saying there is need that the law enforcement agencies tighten their belts so that they ensure that whosoever is implicated is brought to book.
This is the Y Grind, and we are taking a break. We'll continue after this. Welcome back. This is the Y Grind on YTV. My name is Bates Money, and on the show we have Kiaoleboga Dipogiso. He's a political analyst from the University of Botswana. Dipogiso, what does this mean to Dr. Thapelo Matseka? He's a former finance minister. He's an MP for Lobatse, and surely he would want to maybe contest the upcoming 2024 elections under the BDP ticket. What do you see?
Well, as I said in the past, the fate of Matseka probably lies with the people of Lobatse themselves. They are the ones who can say that if he wishes to recontest the elections, they can renew his contract with them. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm.
But obviously, this has dented his ambitions.
Yes, that's why I was saying that there is need that he clears his name before the court of law if there is any charges that are laid against him. It's very important that he clears his name, and he might come back even more credible after the fracas.
What about those ambitions within the ruling BDP? Because obviously we are going into the Congress in a few weeks in Zabong, and we are here. We hear Matseka is one of those guys who are willing to, who have fallen out with the leadership, and they are trying to make a comeback somehow.
But I also think that, as I said earlier, the people of Lobatse would, make a ruling on what they perceive about Matseka in the circumstances. And similarly, within the BDP, the people will make their perceptions about Matseka going to the Congress. If he wishes to contest elections and he comes up with strategies of convincing the people that he may be voted, then the people may see it fit to vote for him. Yes. If they wish to vote for him, they will.
But when you go into the ground, you would see that the BDP would rely on its structures in Lobatse to put forward a candidate. And you have somebody who was once implicated in a very serious case of a child missing or the murder of a child.
Yes, that's why I was saying if he has his strategies well on the ground, he might, because this is you place the matter to the public to make a judgment. The public may say, well, he was accused, but nothing came out of the accusations ultimately. The public may still contend that he is particularly the one who is responsible for that. And if the public says the latter, it may dent his, because in a court of public opinion, it's very difficult to swim against the tide.
It's the perception.
It's the perception that will actually, that's why I say the people of Lobatse themselves, similarly the people of the BDP, if they think that these accusations are frivolous, then they may vote for him.
Going into the Congress in Zabong, what do you foresee? Because obviously there is animosity or there's factional fighting within the BDP, and some people were saying that this was part of the scheme of things to tarnish some people by long
Yeah, I agree. I gore bone batho bone bao ba ya ka ke bua ba na le bokgoni ba go bua le batho gore mekana dikgantse ha se dikgantse le gore di ka dirisiwa. It's very easy for them to particularly get votes. One of the things that I like using is Plato's idea that politics just depends on chance. If you have a chance, then you can use it. It's not like there's calculus that is so sophisticated in politics that you can use particularly to convince the people to vote for you. That's why he was so much averse against this issue of democracy, because democracy is just a matter of perceptions. What the people perceive about you, they make a decision on that particular context.
We've seen some members within the BDP, by Longore, they've faced criminal charges. One MP, Paulson Majaha, he once faced allegations of rape before the court of law. He was acquitted. But it appears ga gona sepe se neng sa diragala go tswa ka ko letlhakoreng la BDP. He was not even suspended, or he was suspended, right?
I don't quite remember.
Yeah.
He was suspended
He was
from
suspended.
the BDP.
Yeah. But going forward, are we likely to see the BDP saying, Ramatseka Kana, you are facing serious charges, or that is, if the police charge him, you'd need to...
I would favor a situation where he actually resigns from parliament, and where if he gets charged with this particular matter, he should resign from parliament, because this is a very serious issue of national security. We've been seeing a pattern of people missing from their families, lives being thrown into oblivion, while some families don't even get a chance to recover the remains of their loved ones. So if he gets charged, if it gets to that particular instance where he gets charged,
He must resign.
He should resign from parliament and pave way for investigations to flow without being hampered by his status and all of that. Yeah.
But if he resigns, and to clear his name, what would be his comeback if his name is cleared? He would still have a chance to.
Well, he has the life doesn't stop when you resign to pave way for it for investigations. Life has to continue. That would be your fate with politics. If you happen to recontest and they vote for you, then that be it. If it happens to that it comes to a place where you contest and then you don't get voted for, then that be it. Yeah. But the important thing is that when people of his stature get criminally charged, they have to pave way for investigations to continue unhampered by the status, that he's an MP, he's a minister, he's this and that, right? But despite the fact that you may lose the chance of particularly continuing to be the MP in future.
But given the tradition, the history that we have, are we likely to see Ramatseka resigning? I know most people take him as a principled man, but would he do that?
You want me to speculate? I'm very averse to speculation, but I think he understands the implication of resigning under the circumstances as a learned person, and that when you are criminally charged as a person of your stature, the correct thing to do is to resign. We expect things like that from persons of his stage, right? Other than other people who are not probably learned, who would probably stick to the positions and all of that.
All right. Will Dr. Maseka resign if he's formally charged by the authorities? Well, we'll continue after this. Welcome back. This is the Why Grind on YTV, and we continue with the show here. We're looking at the recent ruling by the Lobatsa High Court in which it freed Dr. Thapelo Matseka from police custody following his unlawful arrest in the more than 48 hours last week. And if he's formally charged by the police, the most honorable thing for him to do would be
to relinquish the position, yes,
as a member of parliament.
Yes.
But the culture ya rona mo Botswana ke ya gore ke emela organization gore bone gore ira yang ka nna. And we are likely to see that.
Yes, I think people have to take personal responsibility besides the culture, because, I mean, as I said earlier, we expect people of his stage, the learned, to actually lead the way in terms of transforming the political culture in the country, such that people account personally for their actions.
But how do we cultivate the culture of taking accountability mo lehatsheng la rona? Gore ha ke le vacancy ha le re ke le bisitswe melato mengwe e leng gore is of criminal nature, ke tse boikarabelo ba gore before organization e leng gore I'm affiliated to e tsa dikgato kgatlhanong le nna ka bonna hela ke simolle ke tle ko organization ke re ke kopa go emela ga thoko. We do not see that
there's
happening.
Quite a number of issues, like I said earlier, at a personal level. When you think about resigning, you think about your personal livelihood, right? And that necessarily doesn't matter to the people in the political process. When they might actually vote for you back into power, nonetheless, because it's the culture that is embedded in our politics that we don't necessarily hold people to account on their personal infractions in the manner that we see and we've seen in the past. Yeah.
Is it not because politics in this country are based on personal character, not issue-based?
Well, I think there has to be a transformation from this the particular issue that you are mentioning, that we revere people than institutions. We have to develop much more stronger rules, much more stronger institutions that will actually guide our politics going into the future, such that people of certain privileges, when they face infractions like this, they know that they have to lead the way by, particularly paving the way for investigations to take way. But if a person of Rematseka's caliber wouldn't do that, what do you expect from someone who is not learned, who doesn't know anything about personal accountability and all of those other things? And those people are so many in our political processes, right? Yeah.
Going forward in Tsabong, what are we likely to see? We are seeing the BDP aparetswe ke medumonyana e leng gore ya akaretsa yone ya bo Rematseka, bo Mpho Balopi, o e leng gore le ene o na le mo e leng ga gagwe o supile hela gore o batla go emela maemo mo party. What do you foresee?
Well, the BDP ya la ka yone ka hentseng ka teng ke party e tswang gakala ka credibility crisis. In the past, there's always been these issues, but I don't think there's been enough in terms of, trying to close the cases. And kill me for this, right? Hana ko eta ya gore o thothomisiwe. O bo ithelwa go na le dilo dingwe tse o sa di direng sentle. O ska ipata ka gore o mo partying ya boketekete. Wena ko ena o na le boikarabelo ba go ensure gore tse o di dirang ga di ka tsa go lwantshanya le ope ka nako epe. And I've said this openly when the UDC leader was facing problems from all over the place, but and then some people were hatching arguments that ba bona el motho opposition. So ha ile gore o motho o mo dipolitiking kana go pehela o na le boikarabelo ba go ensure gore botshelo ba gago ga bo ka ba khopetswa ke dithothomiso. Maybe la ha ditakana kwa dithopo o ska akanya gore ditaka gore ke na kwa dithopo. Wena o tsontse gore nne mo seemo sa gore ba gago ba ile gore mo ba ka go thasela kana go epehela ba palelo ke go iragatsa tsone dithaselo tsone tse.
Former Minister Nonofo Molefi apparently is challenging the VP Slamba Tsogane for the position of chairmanship.
Yeah.
What is likely to happen there? Would he prove anything against the vice president?
Well, that would be for the delegates themselves go congressing gore bone mudu a bone keng. particularly not even at the Congress, but go the regional Congress in Zabon. For the delegations, the Ethiopia and get some hutamang, ke batho ba ileng gore ba itumela ka ha party tsamaiswang ka teng, le gore ane ba itumela gore ene re tsogana tswelele mo dula party ya bone. And I think one of the things tse le gore di teng tse le gore gongwe mo nako e hitileng ke go amangwa le BPF ga gare Molifi go ka nna le go ka nna se goreletsi mo go campaign within the BDP go malokong a BDP go ka hela go mo.
But he's a well-respected politician from Pikwe and the likes. He served the party well in the past.
Yeah, I think not only from Pikwe, but nationally, he's a very revered person who, you know, if he properly defends whatever comes against him, and then he also manages to convince the people at regional congresses, even at the Congress, he also stands a chance.
The coming 2024 elections, the leadership that is going to be elected this month in Zabong, they are going to be the ones leading the party in 2024. We're likely to see Remasisi getting another mandate.
Well, that depends on a multiplicity of factors. First, the main factor is the credibility of the opposition as an alternative government, right? That are we having, because it's clear that, as I always say, that the BDP's mandate is renewed by the opposition. Their failure to actually form a formidable force against the BDP, right? Year in, year out, especially in the eve of elections, those infractions, they already did di party tsa kganetso di helle di sa kgona go dira gore ba contest the BDP. So that is the first issue. And then also I think Batswana generally ba na le matshwenyego a mantsi a ileng gore a ke tse gore a masha matshwenyego a tswang kgakala bo go thoka le toko la ditiro le dikgang tse dingwe tse ile gore di tshwenya Batswana ya ka tsa bo itshwelelo gore itshwelelwe mo matsogong a batho ba tswang kwa, and all of those other issues. Di nna di le teng dingwaga tsotlhe mme ga gore supetse gore di na le seabe mo goreng BDP Ethiopia ka tsela e rile. And I also think le kganye ya the north-south divide ka hella e nna le seabe, more so that we have seen the BPF formally joining the UDC.
I was coming to that point. The last 30 seconds, what do you see this move, BPF joining the UDC?
Well, the first thing that, the first remark that I made about that is that there's a pattern about the UDC consolidating into a force, a formidable force, that each time a new party has to join, the other one has to ally it, right? So, right from 2017, the BMD had to face off so that the BCP come in, and I think a BCP Lebone, they are getting the medicine that they fed the BMD at that time, right? So I don't know whether but no about UDC by itumela same o seo ka gore a ke re idea ne le go diphadi tsote di ne go go ngwa here.
All right. He's a political analyst at the University of Botswana, and we were dissecting issues that are upcoming, especially with regard to the upcoming BDP Congress in Zabong. My name is Beitsi Mani. Good night.